Today I want to talk to you about law number 7 of teamwork. It is the law of the compass. And the law of the compass says vision gives team members direction and confidence. Let me define vision. Vision is a picture of the future that creates passion within you today. What I want you to see is, it's a picture of the future, but if all you see is a picture of the future, it's not a vision that moves you. It's got to create passion within you. It's kind of like the picture before you, the passion within you. In other words, it's very possible to see a picture of the future of your company or your organization and not be stirred. That's not a viable vision. A viable vision not only gives you a clear picture of what tomorrow looks like, but it kind of stokes a fire within you today. In my book, Developing the Leader Within You, I have a whole chapter that is set aside of teaching vision casting and the power of the vision. And the reason for that is because every successful leader has a vision. Isn't that true? I've never met a leader that didn't have a vision. If you go up to somebody and say, hey, what's your dream? And they look at you and say, I have no dream at all. Now, I'm the leader of the organization, but it beats me what we want to do. They are a leader in position only. They're not a leader. Because if you're a leader, you've got the vision, you've got the dream, and you've got the passion within you. So what I want to do, because vision casting is so essential, your ability as a leader to cast vision to the team, and your ability as a team member to catch the vision of the team is going to determine the success of your team. Let me break down this whole idea of vision. And let me give you the vital components of casting the vision, because I guess the best way to explain this is a checklist for you. If you have to cast a vision to your team, whether you're a school teacher or in the business community or a pastor of a congregation or a government leader, if you've got to cast vision, there are certain components that you need to check off to make sure you have in your vision casting speech that'll make it successful. Let me give them to you. Number 1, clarity. Clarity brings understanding to the vision. In other words, when you cast the vision, when you draw the dream, it's got to be clear. I used to live in San Diego, and for several years I had a wonderful seats right behind the first base dugout of the Padres games, and so I went to some Padres games, and I know they're not very good, but in fact, when I was out there, they were pretty terrible. In fact, I used to say they're the finest minor league team in the majors. But anyway, between about the 3rd or 4th inning, on the big diamond vision, they always did something that was very interesting. You know, between innings, they try to entertain you a little bit. And between, 3rd, 4th inning, sometime in there, about the middle of the game, what they would do is out on the diamond vision, they were going to put the picture of a baseball player on the screen. But the way they did it, instead of putting the whole picture up there, they would put one piece of the puzzle, of the face of a ball player. They would put it up. Now, obviously, when they put just one piece on the diamond vision, you couldn't tell who it was. So basically, the whole crowd is watching the diamond vision. They put one piece, and you're kind of looking at it because you don't have a clue. And then they put another piece. And, okay, now you're looking at it a little bit more. And they would put another. Now, what was interesting is, after they would put maybe 4 or 5 pieces of the face puzzle together on that diamond vision, all of a sudden you could hear the crowd. They go, oh. Now all of a sudden they had enough pieces to know who the player was. I've often thought to myself, the response of that crowd watching that game, watching that puzzle at that time, the response of the crowd when they had enough pieces of the puzzle to figure out who it was, is what happens in your organization, on your team, when you begin to take the vision and begin to put the pieces together, and all of a sudden it becomes clear enough that everybody has it figured out. Clarity is essential on the vision. If the vision is fuzzy, the people are fuzzy, and we don't need any more fuzzy people. We don't need a fuzzy team. Well, no, we just have a wonderful group of people. They're quite fuzzy, but they're wonderful people. So, how do you make the vision clear? By asking, and then answering 2 questions. Question number 1, what do you want them to know? And question number 2, what do you want them to do? If you can answer those 2 questions, what do I want you to know? What I want you to do. Those 2 questions will begin to clear up the picture. Clarity is number 1. So ask yourself when you're casting the vision, is it clear? Let me put it this way. If you can't figure it out, neither can the players on the team. Okay? Number 2, connectedness. Let me explain this. If the vision is to be successfully cast, it has to have a feeling of connectedness. It has to bring the past, the present, and the future together. In fact, I put the statement because I like it. When people touch the past, they will reach for the future. You have to have a connectedness. Here's what I find. Many times when we cast vision, it's all about the future. And it's not about the foundation that has been laid yesterday. So what happens is, when we talk about the future, but we don't talk about the foundation that has been laid, whether it's the price that was paid years ago or the sacrifice, whatever. When we just talk about the future, we eliminate part of the picture. Just as if all you do is talk about the past, there is no future. So what you do is you develop a connectedness. It's not either or, it's both and. And here's what happens. When you talk about the past, you bring value to the people that have already paid the price. When you talk about, so the older people receive value out of it, and the newer people receive security from it. They say, oh my goodness, wow, somebody has been thinking about this way before I ever got here. That somebody's already paid the price. There's a security that comes when you're able to connect the past with the future. Connectedness. It's very key to vision casting. Component number 3 in casting a vision. Purpose. Purpose brings sense to the vision. Purpose makes the vision make sense. The vision describes where you're going. Purpose describes why you're going. And people won't constantly go to a destination unless they know the reason why. Isn't that true? Why are you spending that money? Why are you taking that time? Why are you expending all that energy? If you don't have a why, if you don't have a purpose in the vision, you won't stay on target for the vision. You'll give it up very quickly. You'll lay it aside. Why? Because the purpose is what keeps you on the path to the vision itself. Number 4, goals. When you cast vision correctly, there are goals, because goals bring measurement to the vision. Goals keep the vision realistic. There's a measurement. How well are we doing? Are we there yet? How far are we? How soon will we get there? Now, too many of us, we're like my friend Charlie Brown. Now, there's a study in leadership. Charlie Brown's in the backyard, he's got his bow and arrow, and he's having target practice. What he's doing is he pulls back the string, he lets the arrow fly wherever the arrow flies, no matter wherever it sticks in the board fence. Charlie Brown takes a marker, and wherever the arrow is, he draws a target. And he lets it fly, and he's over here and he's drawing another target. Well, Lucy comes out. You know Lucy, the mother of all board members. And Lucy comes out and she sees all these targets all over the fence. And she says, Charlie Brown, that's not the way you do target practice. And Charlie Brown says, I know it, but if you do it my way, you never miss. Now, I know all kind of people. That's exactly how they do vision casting. They just put a vision up there and they just slap any goal they want to. and they hope. Are you all right? And let me tell you something. Hope is not a strategy. I remember people, well, we hope to. Yeah, well, we're hoping to get there. We're hoping that this is going. We're hoping it'll all turn out. Hope's not a strategy. And so in your vision, have measurable goals so you can always see where your progress is. Number 5, honesty. Honesty brings integrity to the vision. And let me say what else it does. It brings credibility to the vision caster. Make sure that your dreams and your vision is honest. In other words, if I get up in front of you, if I'm leading you as a team, and I get up in front of you, and every 6 months I put a dream out here or a vision out here that we don't accomplish. But every 6 months I put up another dream. I say, well, for the next 6 months we're going to do this, or the next 6 months we're going to go there. But we never get there. We never do that. After I do that a half a dozen times with you, when I get up to cast vision, you're basically saying, here comes hot air again. Mm-hmm. Because there's no integrity in the vision. And when there's not integrity in the vision caster loses credibility. You got to be honest. You got to let them know where you are. Number 6, stories. You've got to have stories in your vision. Because that brings relationships to the vision. That makes the vision warm when you tell stories. Telling stories about how somebody in your company has helped that goal become a reality. Those kind of things draw people to you. Too many times we try to cast vision without stories. Put stories, the stories warm up the vision. The stories personalize the vision. The stories make the vision identifiable by the average person. Number 7, challenge. The challenge brings stretching to the vision. In other words, in your dream, in your vision, have stretching room. Give them room to fly. Don't be afraid to challenge people. Sometimes I'll run into leaders and they'll say, well, I don't know if I want to challenge the team. I'm not sure the team's ready for this. Let me tell you something. Put the challenge high. Stick it up there. Here's what I find. Winners stretch to the challenge. Whiners shrink from the challenge. And the greatest way to get rid of your whiners, your weak link, is to put a challenge up there. They'll run fast. Their first question is not, how do I climb Mount Everest? Their first question is, where's the exit? See, when you put the challenge high, to winners, they say, sick 'em. And to whiners, it makes them sick. And there's a world of difference between those two. Number 8, passion. Passion brings fuel to the vision. Passion heats people up. By the way, again, talking about the winners and whiners, here's what passion fires up the committed and fries the uncommitted. Just does. When you turn the heat up, some people will get fired up, some people get fried. Number 9 is modeling. Modeling brings accountability to the vision. Modeling basically says, I'm going, do you want to go? Can we go together? Number 10 is strategy. Strategy brings process to the vision. As I look back at my leadership with a team, my greatest days of leadership will never show up on paper. And the reason why is my greatest days of leadership is not when my organization grew the fastest. In San Diego, California, in the mid-'80s, I was pastoring this growing dynamic church. And the only way we were going to be able to keep growing was to relocate the church, and so we realized we were going to have to do that. And so we found 80 acres on a freeway, and we began the process of relocation. Now, I'm not going to go in the story today because it's way too long. In fact, it's way too discouraging. But we had all the setbacks any person would ever not want to have in a relocation process. The biggest setbacks were mainly environmental, and if you're in Southern California, in fact, the Wall Street Journal interviewed me one time, and the Wall Street Journal said, if you pull this off, you'll be the last church in Southern California that will be able to buy 80 acres of land and pull it off. I guarantee you, he said, it isn't going to happen again because of all the environmental laws. There was a bird called a black-tailed gnatcatcher. Didn't even live on the property. Just flew over the property and every once in a while landed. Rested, you know, just... Because the black-tailed gnatcatcher landed on the property, the environmentalists said we couldn't build our buildings on the property. Now, I could go through barriers and barriers. In fact, finally we got through that. How we got through that was by buying 28 acres somewhere else for the birds to land on. As if you train a black-tailed gnatcatcher. Say, you don't land here. You quarter of a mile over there. That's your landing spot. $8 years later, millions of dollars later, we got the zoning. 8 years, millions of dollars. You talk about a challenge? I had to raise millions of dollars on land that I couldn't even assure the people we would build on. I had to keep hope alive on land that we were not even sure would be ours. And for 8 years, I kept hope alive. What was it Napoleon said? Leaders are dealers in hope. And I became a dealer in hope. And what's beautiful is in May of 2000, I flew back to San Diego to dedicate the first building on that mountain. 5,000 people. Absolutely excited about what had happened. But as I got back on the plane to fly back to Atlanta, Georgia, I began to think about the price that was paid and the vision that was cast. And all I'm saying to you is leaders constantly, they're keeping the picture in front of the people because they know this. If the people lose the picture, the passion leaks out of their life. So I put in your notes. It's out of my Developing the Leader Within You book. Some closing thoughts on vision. Here's what experience has taught me. The credibility of a vision is determined by the leader. The acceptance of a vision is determined by the timing of its presentation. The value of a vision is determined by the energy and direction that it gives. The evaluation of a vision is determined by the commitment level of the people. And the success of the vision is determined by its ownership by both the leader and the people. One last teamwork thought. Great leaders take the vision from me to we. That's your goal. The vision has to go from me, the leader, to we, the team. And until that happens, the vision will never be successful. But law number 7 is a great law. It's the law of a compass. Vision gives team members direction, and it gives them confidence.